Hello and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. Since January 2023, Embracing the Fight continues to evolve. I started off sharing my story of thyroid cancer. Then I had several guests who shared their stories to help many heal. And now I also share advice about how we can normalize conversations surrounding physical and mental health challenges and concerns. Your commitment to subscribing, sharing, commenting, watching, and even being guests on Embracing the Fight continues to fuel this growth. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram as Embracing the Fight. On Instagram, it's Embracing the Fight. And if you enjoy listening to the audio version, you can find Embracing the Fight everywhere. LibSyn distributes podcasts, including Samsung, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Now that I've gotten the business out of the way, let's jump into today's episode, Finding Closure. Finding closure is one of those phrases that gets used often, but rarely understood deeply. People say things like, I just need closure, or I never got closure, but what does that actually mean? For many of us, closure feels like something someone else has to give us. It feels like a conversation that needs to happen, an apology that needs to be said, or an explanation that needs to be provided. But the truth is, closure is not something that comes from the outside. Closure is something we create within ourselves. Finding closure is the act of releasing control, control that a person, a situation, or even an addiction has over you. It is the decision to no longer allow something external to dictate your emotional state, your peace, or your identity. And that is not easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you will ever do. When we talk about closure, we have to first redefine it. Closure is not always getting the last word. Closure is not always understanding why something happened. Closure is not always fairness, and it is definitely not always justice. Closure is acceptance. It is the point where you say, I may not like what happened, I may not agree with it, I may never fully understand it, but I am choosing to move forward anyway. That's powerful because it shifts the responsibility from someone else to you. And while that may feel unfair at first, it is actually the most freeing realization you can have. Because if closure depends on someone else, then you are stuck waiting for an apology, waiting for accountability, waiting for change. And sometimes those things never come. So what does finding closure truly mean? It means recognizing that you have the authority to end cycles in your life. It means acknowledging your pain without allowing it to define your future. It means making peace with the reality that some chapters don't have the endings we wanted, but we still have the power to close the book. Now let's talk about something that can be uncomfortable but necessary. Realizing that sometimes we are the ones keeping the door open. We often blame the other person, the situation, or even the addiction. And yes, accountability matters. But there is also a level of self-awareness required in this process. Sometimes our open hearts, our willingness to forgive without boundaries, and our tendency to give endless chances are the very things that keep us stuck. Having a giving heart is not a weakness. Being compassionate is not a flaw. But when those qualities are not paired with boundaries, they can become self-destructive. You can love people and still choose yourself. You can care deeply and still say no. You can forgive and still walk away. Loose boundaries often look like making excuses for people who hurt you. It looks like accepting behavior that you know you don't deserve. It looks like holding on to potential instead of reality. It looks like saying, maybe this time will be different, even when history has shown you otherwise. And here's the truth. Every time you reopen a door that should have stayed closed, you reinforce the cycle. You teach people how to treat you. You communicate, even unintentionally, that certain behaviors are acceptable. And most importantly, You delay your own healing. Finding closure requires honesty with yourself. It requires asking hard questions. Why am I holding on? What am I hoping will change? Am I in love with the person or the idea of who they could be? Am I staying because it's healthy or because it's familiar? Familiarity can be deceptive. Just because something is familiar does not mean it is safe or good for you. Sometimes we stay in situations because they are known, even when they are painful. Because the unknown feels more intimidating than the discomfort we've learned to tolerate. But growth requires discomfort, healing requires change, and closure requires a decision. So, how do you determine what it takes to actually close the door? First, you have to accept that closure is a process, not a moment. It's not a single conversation or a one-time decision. It is a series of choices that you make every single day, choosing not to go back, choosing not to engage, choosing to prioritize your peace over your curiosity. Second, you have to be willing to do the internal work. And this is where mental health counseling can play a critical role. Therapy is not just for when things are falling apart. It is a tool for understanding yourself, your patterns, your triggers, and your responses. A counselor can help you unpack why you stayed in situations that hurt you. They can help you identify patterns that you may not even realize exist. They can provide strategies for setting boundaries and sticking to them. And most importantly, they can help you process the emotions that come with letting go. Because let's be honest, letting go is not just about relief, it also comes with grief. You are not just letting go of a person or a situation. You are letting go of expectations. You are letting go of dreams. You are letting go of what you thought things could be. And that loss deserves to be acknowledged. Grief does not mean you made the wrong decision. It means you cared. It means something mattered to you. And it is okay to feel that. But healing after letting go requires intention. It requires rebuilding yourself in a way that is stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you are becoming. So, how do you truly heal after letting go? You start by reconnecting with yourself. When you've been in a situation that drained you, it's easy to lose sight of who you are. Your energy goes into managing the situation, navigating the relationship, or coping with the stress. Healing is about reclaiming that energy. It's about rediscovering what brings you joy, what gives you peace, and what aligns with your values. It's about creating a life that does not require you to shrink, compromise your worth, or ignore your intuition. You also have to practice self-compassion. Healing is not linear. There will be days when you feel strong and certain, and there will be days when you question your decision. There will be moments when you miss what you left behind, even if it wasn't good for you. That does not mean you should go back. It means you are human. Give yourself grace in those moments. Remind yourself why you made the decision. Remind yourself of the patterns, the pain, and the reasons you chose to close that door. Another critical part of healing is building healthy boundaries moving forward. Closure is not just about ending something, it's about preventing the same cycle from repeating. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are guidelines for how you allow yourself to be treated. They protect your peace, your energy, and your well-being. And here's something important. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may not respond well when you start setting them. That does not mean your boundaries are wrong. It means they are necessary. You are not responsible for how others react to your growth. You are responsible for maintaining it. Healing also involves forgiveness, but not in the way people often think. Forgiveness is not about excusing behavior or pretending something didn't hurt you. It is about releasing the hold that the situation has on you. Forgiveness is for you. It is the decision to no longer carry the weight of anger, resentment, or bitterness, because those emotions, while valid, can become heavy over time. And they can keep you connected to something you are trying to move on from. Letting go of that weight does not mean what happened was okay. It means you are choosing peace over pain. And finally, healing requires patience. There is no timeline for closure. There is no deadline for feeling better. Your journey is your own. Some days will feel easier than others. Some days you will feel like you've moved on completely, and then something will trigger a memory, and the emotions will resurface. That's part of the process. The goal is not to erase the past. The goal is to reach a place where the past no longer controls you. Finding closure is not about forgetting, it's about freedom. Freedom to move forward without looking back. Freedom to build healthier relationships. Freedom to choose yourself without guilt. Freedom to live a life that is not defined by what hurt you. And that is what this journey is about. Not perfection, not having all the answers, but progress, growth, healing. If you are in a place where you are struggling to find closure, know this: you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not powerless. You have the ability to make decisions that protect your peace. You have the strength to walk away from what no longer serves you. And you have the resilience to rebuild, to heal, and to thrive. It may not happen overnight. It may not be easy, but it is absolutely possible. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch this episode of Embracing the Fight. And as always, I want you to have an absolutely amazing day.